Okay, here's the deal. We are starting 30 minutes later than our normal Torah portion. And I'm asking you for 10 minutes. Can you give me 10 minutes? I got a small presentation I just want to give you on some stuff that my friend and I and a friend and I in Canada, we were going over some stuff. And so I wanted to share some of it with you. So can we do that real quick?
Absolutely.
Okay, and I'll make it quick. And now this is end time stuff. And I know a lot of people have their minds made up as far as when Yeshua is going to come, or how the end times are going to play out. And it's a lot of times you're going to hear, what's on this feast day, what's on that feast day, and I get it. I respect that, and I don't disagree with it either. But at the same time, Revelation 3 says this: "Remember therefore what you have received and heard, obey it and repent. But if you do not wake up, I will come like a thief, and you will not know at what time I will come to you." Now here's the thing for me on this verse. Every single Torah believer, and even your modern day Christian believer now today too as well, are looking to win the feast days. Even if they're not awake, they're going, oh yeah, there's something about that day. So my mindset keeps wondering, are we looking for this and it's going to happen some way different? Okay, now again, trust me, I'm all about the feast days. I have multiple teachings showing we need to look at this feast day, we need to look at that feast day. All these kinds of things, all of them. I'm just concerned that we're not looking or being open to being wrong. That's my concern. So I'm very cautious to assume that even I have it all figured out. And that's why I like to look at plausible scenarios. Not saying this is that, this is it, but hey, this is possible. We need to be open to it. That's all I ever ask. Once I had someone come to me and say how they really liked our end time teachings and how I think outside the box, and I do. And so much in a way that it's outside of the typical and traditional interpretations. And they said, "Steve, I just like how you take an idea and you throw it on the wall and see if it sticks." I go, that is kind of what I do, isn't it? I throw it on the wall and say, okay, is it going to stick there? And that is kind of what I do. And now here's the thing too. I do not claim to be a watchman, okay? A lot of people like to refer to Ezekiel 33 about the watchman and stuff. Well, let it be known, in Ezekiel 33, a watchman is someone who is appointed by the people. I'm not appointed by anybody, okay? I'm just throwing out ideas. And so if you ever want to check out Ezekiel 33, I would encourage you, because it discusses the watchman, and because it says if the watchman says something that people don't listen, well, that's because they appointed him. Okay, so if you don't listen to the person you appointed, well, then your blood's on your own hands. Okay, again, that's Ezekiel 33. So again, I'm not a watchman. I'm just a fellow brother who loves Yahweh with all my heart, and I want to help his people whenever I can, however I can, the best way that I can. And that being said, when I come across something that could be plausible, I feel it's my responsibility to at least say, hey guys, this is plausible. I'm not saying thus saith the Lord by any stretch of the imagination, but if I was right on something and then I didn't tell people, I would feel I messed up. I failed. And so today I want to present something real quick that I think is something plausible. I never want to stop asking the question, what if? That's something that, when it comes to Bible prophecy, don't ever stop asking what if. We need to be open to these, what if I'm wrong here and you're right? That's something none of us wants to entertain the thought that we could be wrong. And they're the ones who's wrong and I'm the one who's right, blah, blah, blah. No. Turn the table. Stop trying to defend your view on something and look at their view and try to defend it against yours. That's being open. Boy, that deserved a good amen. Okay, amen. So now, this all being said, I just want to throw some things out to you today. Now, many times I get thoughts in the end times, and I'm not even trying. And I'm on different topics, and some things came to me this last week. I was asked one time if I watched a video from this guy. His name is Dana. You already know it, Dana Coverstone. And some people said, Steve, you got to watch this video. You got to watch this video. And to be very honest with you, I didn't. I avoided it. And not because this guy's wrong, not at all. whenever someone has something brand new or whatever, I try to stay away from that stuff because I want to hear from the Father for me. I don't want to listen to someone else's and go, oh yeah, oh hey, and then I want to make sure if it's something going to be incongruent with what someone else is saying, that I know it's from him and not from me making something up to be with that person. Does that make sense? Okay, so supposedly he had this dream, okay, great. Well, my friend and I were talking not long ago, and actually this was last week, and he said, Steve, that one guy had that dream, and it's supposed to be by the end of November, and everyone was thinking it was going to be election time because he said November, and so people are already calling him false prophet, and I go, oh, yeah, I don't know anything about it. And he goes, we need to watch it. So I watched it, and I found it very interesting because what he is saying was in parallel with several things that I have made in other teachings. And I go, oh, this is rather interesting. So now it's got my attention sparked up, because he even said at one time, he said that gargoyles are attacking people in November. I'm going, well, that kind of sounds like Revelation chapter 9. The abyss opens up and they start attacking people. And so I watched it. And this is some thoughts that I had, because he said in November. Okay, now let's just assume for a second that he's right. Now, I already took a little too long on this introduction, so let me get things rolling now. Okay, full moon on November 29th and the 30th. Okay, that's a full moon, which I think is significant because it's the last day of November, the time that he says something could happen. And I've always been watching for a full moon, because if you go to Revelation chapter 6, and it says the whole moon turns blood red. It doesn't say the moon turns blood red. It says the whole moon turns blood red. The Greek says that. So that's something for us to be mindful of. And so as I was looking at this, I'm going, well, this is rather interesting. This could be the day, according to, if his dream is correct, that could be the time of the wake-up call, when the moon turns blood red and something happens, if that's the case. Now, this is where I want to start throwing out the ifs, okay? Because my friend and I were saying, okay, if he's right, let's look at our timelines and different things that we've done. If he's right, the 144,000 will already have been sealed by November 29th and 30th, okay? And then those creatures, from Revelation chapter 9, verse 4, the abyss is opened. Now, this is where it starts to get interesting. November 29th is the 14th day of the month, okay? 10 days later, though, happens to be the 24th day of the month. Now, does that sound familiar to you? 24th day of the 9th month? To anybody? Does that sound familiar to anybody? To every single believer, in my honest opinion, that date should be ringing like crazy in our hearts. Every year. 24th day of the 9th month. Why? Because Haggai said, you will be blessed from this day forward. Matter of fact, I got it on here for you. From this day on, from this 24th day of the 9th month, give careful thought to the day when the foundation of Yahweh's temple was laid. Give careful thought. Is there yet any seed left in the barn? Until now, the vine and the fig tree, the pomegranate, and the olive tree have not borne fruit. So they were supposed to, but they haven't. Then it says, from this day on, I will bless you. And then it continues on with verses 20. I'm not going to read it for right now. The bottom line is, this is a day you'll be blessed. In my teaching, here it is, the winter timeline. In that teaching, I present how a plausible scenario could be where this Yeshua's return in the end times, however it plays out, will begin in the winter time. And it begins with the 24th day of the 9th month, being the time of the resurrection, and then the birth pains kick in gear from there out. So that's what I'm saying. This is what he's saying some stuff, and it's going in line with other teachings I've made in the past. Now, 24th day of the 9th month also is the 40th day from Halloween. I thought that was rather interesting. Time of trial, time of completion. Now, this is also the 24th day of the 9th month, is what we call is the day before Hanukkah. What is Hanukkah, the celebration of Hanukkah, known for around the world? Dedication of what?
Festival of Lights.
Festival of Lights. Spitting it out as fast as they can. Dedication of the temple. Okay, what else? Real quick. You haven't said it yet. Maccabees, the war. Now we're getting closer in. It's a tradition that is really not even biblical. Well, it is biblical, but they don't follow the right biblical instance. But the oil lasting 8 days. Okay, these 10 days, I believe, are very possible, could represent the 10 virgins. with the oil. 5 wise, 5 foolish. Okay? Now, this is also something I have been trying with every single teaching I've done. This is a confession. I have never, ever been able to figure out the 10 days of Smyrna. Suddenly, I see a plausible scenario with this situation. You see the wake-up call on the full moon, and then you have 10 days later, you have the day of the resurrection. 10 days where Smyrna will be persecuted. Because I've always wondered, nothing is negative said against Smyrna. Nothing is ever said about negative against them. But yet they have to suffer. And then I'm thinking, well, how in the world can this be that they would miss the resurrection? Nothing's negative about them. But yet in this scenario, they still make the resurrection. But for whatever reason, they have to go through that time of persecution. So now something I've never thought of before is that would mean the wake-up call lasts 10 days. That's something I kind of personally struggle with, but it's a scenario, I can't prove it wrong either. This is a scenario that I have also made known in declaring the end from the beginning teaching. And that was actually done at the Isaiah 46:10 conference back in 2017. I'm aging older than I thought. Okay. So here we have a scenario that I believe is very possible, that being started in the winter timeline. Now, if this is true, okay, look at the timeline here. You have everything starting at the full moon. Well, 5 months later, you go 5 moon cycles, you land on Passover, on the Passover, our calendar. This is our calendar, okay? And there's lots of calendars out there, so I'm not offended if you disagree, okay? But 5 moon cycles to Passover. It's exactly 5 months. So what could happen? Just like I made it in the other teaching I made not long ago, this anti-Messiah can come forth and defeat these creatures on Passover and say, and now makes him what? The deliverer, the Messiah that they've been looking for to come and save them. And then you have 6 months from the time of unleavened bread to Sukkot. That is the time. This is what I brought out in the declaring the end from the beginning. The time of the tribulation is going to be less than a year. Okay, a year or less. And this is actually going to be less than a year with the time of the actual tribulation. The birth pains are 5 months. The tribulation is 6 months. It's exactly 1/7 of the allotted given time. And it's all described in that first teaching. It goes from 42 months to 6 months. 1/7. You say, Steve, that doesn't make any sense. Watch the teaching, declaring the end from the beginning, and you'll see how that makes sense. And I can't go into it here because I got other stuff to get into. Now, the biggest thing is I've had thinking about this, well then, how in the world is the anti-Messiah going to say, well, here's Passover when it's not the Jewish Passover? But remember, if you think about it, excuse me, where am I at here with this? Well, first let me backtrack. The anti-Messiah can come forward and say, just like Moses did. Remember, they're looking for a Messiah. And he's a prophet likened unto who? Moses. And what did Moses do whenever they first came out of Egypt? This shall be the first of months for you. Moses said that. Moses is getting them off of the pagan calendars that they've been on and back onto Yahweh's calendar. So why would we think that the anti-Messiah wouldn't do the same thing? And then I know a lot of people will say, well, here's the thing. Let's not forget Daniel. It says he will think to change the times and the law. We've always think that's to get us off of the way. But what if it's to get them on the right calendar? You're going to say, Steve, why would he do that? Remember, he wants to be like the Most High. Go to Isaiah 14. He says, I will ascend to the throne. I will be like this. I will be like the Most High, he says, 5 times. He will already, if my theory is correct, just a theory, he will already have the Ark of the Covenant, the original tent of meeting. And now, if he has them on the right calendar, he has everything of Yahweh's pointing to who? Him. It is the ultimate slap in the face to Yahweh. In his eyes. To the enemy's eyes, look at this. I'm on your day, your throne, in your palace, and they're all looking to me. Now you see where I'm coming from? Is it going to happen that way? I have no clue. I'm just simply saying these are some thoughts that have come my way that I would have never seen if I didn't finally sit and watch that guy's video, okay? And so, last slide. This is how it would look like. You got all this stuff. You got Halloween, the 40 days to the full moon. Okay, that's your 40 days goes to the 24th day of the 9th month. If it's possible, The full moon on November 29th and 30th, that night, that could be your wake-up call. Next 10 days is going to be the 10 days for the 10 virgins in Smyrna. And then the 24th day would be the resurrection. Then you've got the birth pains. Remember, the birth comes before the birth pains. Don't forget that, Isaiah 66. The birth before the birth pains. And then you got 5 months of the birth pains. And then at the time of unleavened bread, you've got, well, actually the night of Passover, 5 full months later, the anti-Messiah could come and deliver the people. And then by the end of unleavened bread, what happens? He's given authority. And by the last day of unleavened bread, he's given authority. Go 6 full months later, last day of Sukkot, Battle of Armageddon, he gets dethroned. Okay? So that's just something to think about and pray about. That's all I have. And so if you want, for those who are interested, we can do a Q&A after Torah portion later on. Sound good? All right. Torah portion. Where are we at, Joshua?